our next segment, we have the ladies on standby already. Yeah, Eunice and Josephine. So this segment we call I Am a Woman. What is your superpower? So this segment aims to inspire women to be the best versions of themselves, despite all circumstances and challenges thrown at them in life. Rashim's superpowers we saw are persistence, perseverance, belief in herself, resilience, right? So what about you, Aichin, as the founder and CEO of BestOfMe, what's your superpower?
Yeah, I also heard Rashim talking about her superpower being make things happen. Wow, so yeah. that was great. My superpower, I think, is simply the greed and also being grateful for what I have in life and living my very best each day. So, my company's name, BestOfMe, and I truly believe in that, to be the best version of ourselves. And I think one of my superpowers is also the trust in people. I do believe that everyone has potential and deserve to be the best in their own way. Yeah, and with that conviction, and that was the reason why I left my 17 years corporate world and started BestOfMe, the first Asian-based digital coaching platform, because I simply want to help people to be the best version of themselves by making coaching accessible to everyone. What about you, Yati? What is your superpower?
Okay, my superpower is definitely strong determination. You see how we worked to get this webinar off the ground, isn't it? Just make it happen, okay? Yeah. So I want to engage, I want to be able to enhance and enable others to succeed. And that's exactly our company's mission. So Aichin, are we ready to get started with the next segment? How about our guest then?
Yeah, let's bring the two superwomen with us here, Josephine and Eunice. I met these two amazing ladies about months ago, and I was really touched. Josephine, when I met her, she really is someone that exemplifies the power of human spirit. In 2006, she suffered a loss of one of her twin sons. And she's also a relapsed breast cancer survivor since 2017. And when I saw her today with the short hair, she told me that, Aichin, I just did my last treatment November 2017. November last year, not 2017, November last year. And when I met her, the big smile on her face, that joy in her, despite all this adversity that happens to her, she's still now being a coach and an author, going around passionately helping others to be better. She told me that she wanted to be the catalyst of hope. That was amazing. She's really a life warrior to me. I'm so glad that we have here. Later, she will share her story with you. And we have our second panelist, Eunice. Eunice is an amazing lady. She's a role model for many women out there. She's the Group Financial Service Director of a mega agency. If you look at her, she's petite, but she's leading a $20 million agency with over 150 financial consultants. I was from the insurance industry, and I can tell you that having top agency leaders, female leaders, not many of them, and she's one of them. And not just that, she has been awarded the top agency in one of the largest insurance companies in Singapore for 4 years in a row. It's amazing. It's an amazing accomplishment for a woman. And not just that, she's also a loving mother. She's a loving wife and mother of two lovely daughters, 4 and 6. Let's welcome Josephine and Eunice, two amazing women.
Hello, Josephine and Eunice. Yeah, thank you for being with us this morning. We've heard a lot about your stories earlier. Perhaps we can start with Josephine first. Josephine, maybe you can share how do you gain strength to have gone through a lot of hardships in your life? So what is your superpower, Josephine?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening to some of you. Let me just put what I've learned to test. And okay. Yeah, I know it's a long day for some of us now, so I just wanted to energize some of you as well. So what is my superpower? You know, when Aichin was just introducing me to all of you, I almost teared up because you know, she actually made the story seem very emotional and very touching. So thank you for reminding me that, you know, we have times of being strong and we also have times of being vulnerable. So thank you for that. My superpower, going through so many adversities, has actually helped me a lot. What I've learned is to shift the focus from me to we. You know, when we are first diagnosed with breast cancer, when we have, you know, learning some bad news, losing a job or whatever, there's always this tendency to go into a victim mode. You know, but I choose not to go into that mode, and I shift myself to become a victor. And how do I do that? From victim to victor is actually quite a simple shift. It's about seeing things negatively or positively. You know, regardless, we still need to go through it, right? So for example, I can't change that I have to go through breast cancer treatment. I can't change that. But I've decided, you know, to see it positively. And that means knowing that, okay, to prioritize what really counts now. You know, before, when our health was much better, we take for granted a lot of things. Yeah, we tend to say, oh, it's okay lah, you know, no need lah, because there's no worries. But now that, you know, something has been flagged out and it's irreversible, then you really know that, okay, this is it. So I rather choose to see going through all these adversities positively, you know, knowing that I can count my days and make my days count, you know, and have a not victim, but victor mentality. And the shift is from me to we now, right? It's not about me being in pain and all that. And in fact, at the moment, as I'm speaking to you, I'm not feeling too good either. But, you know, the shift from me becomes to we. I'm not going to let all of you down. So that is what's going on in my mind. And I'm really thankful that actually challenges truly brings out the best in one person. Back to you, Yati.
Yeah, I think, Josephine, as you shared, tears are in my eyes. You know, I don't know, the strength in you, the superpower in you is so strong that I hope that you really encourage a lot of women out here. This morning, I just saw a picture of my friend, my childhood friend, about the same age as me, also going through chemo. And it was tough, but she's still having that joy, and she's still telling people that it's okay, I'm okay. And you know, I just hope that this session can encourage a lot of people. Yeah, and okay, so Eunice, now to you, what's your superpower? Being one.
Everyone, hi, hello.
Yeah, you are, you know, it's so hard to be a top leaders, 150 people under you, and still balancing as, you know, a mother. You told me that you still pick your girl every day, and that's awesome. You know, that day you went for the class and then you rush and say, I need to pick my girl. Wow. How do you do that? What's the superpower?
Yes, thank you, Aichin and Yati, for having me. And I really enjoy the company, the high energy of everyone this morning. And seemingly it sounds so surreal, but I actually got into this industry because one of my close girlfriend passed away of breast cancer. So yeah, I mean, when I hear Josephine's story, it really inspires me. And thank you so much for sharing. It really gives us a lot of strength. So for me, my superpower, you know, where all the girls or all the ladies out there are pursuing the 5 C's in life, right? So today I hope to share about some 5 C's that I feel is a superpower in me. Of course, being open is actually being the first step. I'm a very open-minded person. I don't like close up to a lot of things. So the 5 C's to me is being open to the first C, which is change. Many a times, I think we are very resistant to change. So for me, I came from an engineering background. Never have I thought about coming into the insurance industry. But to me, I was open. and I was willing to take up that change in me. And that has actually transformed my life till today. And of course, the second C is always about being curious. And I think that's also my superpower. I'm always curious about things. I mean, in Singapore context, they say it's kaypoh lah, but I like to be curious and curious to know things and having the open mind to fill my mind with possibilities. And of course, the third C is about collaborations. I think that also gives me a lot of network, able to collaborate people like yourself, people in not just in the financial industry, but beyond of what the work that I do. And of course, the fourth C, I feel is very important to me. It's really about forging strong connections. Just now, the speaker was also sharing that, we don't have the answers of everything. So it's important to have that connection, that community, if that's also one of the C, that is able to keep us going. And I think that is also my superpower that has able to lead me, to able to have be there for my girls, be there for my 150 consultants and leaders, and be there for my family as well. And of course, the last C is having that courage. Many a times we do fall into self-doubt, like, can we really do it? Especially for me, I'm very petite, and when I think about me stepping out as a leader at that time, I still recall there was somebody telling me, Eunice, you sure or not? Maybe when you stand out the platform, nobody could see you because you're so small. Yeah, but I still took the courage anyhow and said that, I would just want to give my best, and it's for the people. And here I am today. So I'm very proud and very happy to be able to share the journey that I have gone through.
It's okay, Eunice. I can feel you. Okay, so this year's International Women's Day theme is about breaking the bias, right? So have you experienced bias while you were trying to climb up the ladder, Eunice? Share us your story. What do you do to break that bias?
Oh, wow, there's really a lot of bias, especially in the insurance industry. I mean, there's a lot of maybe not so positive comments sometimes in a way, especially where some people may see insurance advisors as aggressive salespeople, especially women, right, doing this line, often are very being misunderstood. Especially when we are doing what we do, right? So in the earlier years, in the work that I do, usually it's the women that is actually the performers, the salespeople, and then the guys are actually the leaders. So that was the time when I actually step up to become a leader, because I see the struggles of female agents, right, going through, and there was a gap. Somehow or rather, I just feel that, it's not about gender bias or what, but I just feel that there's a gap that sometimes I feel that women can only understand women. And that's where I decided to step up and took up the role of being a leader. But then, of course, the initial years were very difficult because nobody had that thought of belief, because it's an extra commitment. But I choose to break that bias to actually step up anyhow. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. What about Josephine? Do you have any thoughts about this bias thing?
Yes, definitely. Thanks. It's my turn now. Yeah, I think in my early, in the 90s, it was my first job as a fresh grad. And one of the things that I did was to break some bias myself, and that was to enter the sales industry, very much to the disappointment of my parents, especially when both my siblings are doctors. And, for me, I've always wanted to be a teacher, which I did very briefly. And then I went into automotive sales. And during that time, it was very unknown for a graduate to do that. So, and then after that, I went off to manage the workshop as well as the only female after sales manager, which is also very unusual because I had no clue about fixing a car. But, through my abilities and my capabilities, I would say, I was promoted. So what did I do? Well, during those moments, I reflected a few questions. Number one, what is my advantage? So me being the only grad, right, doing sales at that point of time, I felt that, okay, my advantage is I can write. So I started writing, cold calling, and I managed to secure, a fleet of sales for a rental car company in the 90s. So that was when, on my very first year, I just shot up to being the top or second top sales lady. So that was something that I did very much differently. So I looked at my advantage. The second question I asked myself was, what can I do differently? Yeah, I mean, besides what is going on at the moment. I mean, typically, if it's male-dominating industry, what is it that us women have that is different? And that was the connection that we had. So as a manager, then a sales manager or after sales manager, what I did was, it is about connection, not correction. So during my times with my staff, if there was any kind of behind the door, kopi chit chat kind of stuff, it was about connection. What's going on? It could be in any kind of language, could be Hokkien, Mandarin, Malay, because that was the generation then, working with technicians and salespeople. And of course, I also realized that if I had any setbacks, because there's always lots of barriers, right? Lots of challenges. People laugh at you, you're young, people think that you can't do it. I always felt that my setback was my setup for other things. And I analyzed, what can I do better? What can I do better? The setback wasn't something that I took negatively, but it was an opportunity for myself to prove that I can do it. And how can I do it better? Set up myself. And of course, to all the people who hate me or people who don't like me, it's fine, because I find them like magnets. And as you know, magnets, right? Unlike poles attract. So if they're horrible, I'm good. Thanks. Back to you.
Oh, I like that.
I like that last bit. Let people to unlike you, and let them repel, and only attract those alike.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Agree.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josephine.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I have to speak clearly. Yeah.
As I was hearing both you, Josephine and Eunice, that you shared about break the bias. Recently, I did a post on LinkedIn about breaking the bias. And sometimes the bias come from within. Because the bias is so strong out there that it becomes our inner voice, right? And I can resonate that very well. When I was about to start BestOfMe, I look around, how many female founders are there? Not many. And I did a research, Google, the stats of female founder successfully run a company, it's very low, not many of them. So I questioned myself whether I should, but in the end, I took up the courage and I just do it lah. And I did it. And sometimes until today, I still have to constantly remind myself of this inner voice. Just now, Rashim, that was a good question about what do you do to silence the gremlins that try to self-sabotage you? Sometimes that bias come from within. It's us sabotaging ourselves. So, that imposter syndrome, questioning yourself, am I good enough? That is very apparent in women. I've through my coaching, I saw a lot of women having that. What about you? Have you ever self-sabotage yourself?
Many times.
So Eunice, what do you do with that? Like, how do you overcome that?
I self-taught myself, and I think it's also important to have very good community of girlfriends or people that is able to kind of pull me along. Sometimes, it's okay sometimes to fall. It's okay to be vulnerable, and I totally, as much as they talk about superpower, right? And as much as I would like to be a superwoman or super mom, but yeah, there are times that there is this like the fear of failure. Can sometimes be the greatest barrier that that is actually stopping us from stepping up, taking that risk and all these. So these are the thoughts that's in my mind. But as I said, there's this acronym that says fear, right? Fear is actually false evidence appearing real. So actually it's not really happening, but we are actually sabotaging ourselves many times. So it's always good to share with like-minded people, like what Josephine said, right? The magnet, right? Share with like-minded people, share with people who are able to lift us up, who are able to give us a different perspective of things. And I think that will probably change, because to change things, we have to change the way we look at things. So I think that's very, very true. And that has actually kind of like made me get out of that imposter syndrome that I used to be having, or in fact sometimes I still do, but I pick myself up every time.
Wow, that's a good advice. So ladies, just constantly remind yourself that you are good enough.
Yes.
And just move on, right? Josephine, what about you?
Okay, great. I purposely came on board with no makeup and, with short hair, because as you know, from my profile picture, I look very different. But, I reach a stage in life where enough is enough, and I told myself, it doesn't matter what people think of me, it doesn't matter whether I doubt myself or whatever, what is important is to run your own race. And therefore I am happy being me with no makeup, and I'm happy being me running my own race. And I think what's also important is to bite what you can chew. These are things that I've reminded myself, and it was not without any kind of painful reminder. It was because of going through all the treatment and all that. You realize you just have to delegate a lot, you just have to let go a lot, and you only can do what you can best you can. This thing about multitasking is sometimes overused. When you multitask, you can't focus. And I've learned to let go a lot because of that. And of course, to understand yourself, to play up your strengths and to play down your weaknesses. So that's how I've been handling my doubts, my biasness and all that. Just run your own race. Back to you.
Wow, it's really, really amazing. So many powerful statements that we have recorded in this morning alone.
Run your own race, right? That's
what about yourself? Is there any last advice that you like to give to all women and men out there?
Is that for me?
For both you and
Eunice, you go first. I'm still thinking.
Okay, Eunice first.
I guess it's very importantly, it's to be comfortable in our own skin and be authentic. I guess that's the most important. People really like you to the way you are, and that is actually what is important. After all, we don't have to like what we say. We don't have to be somebody else's to be able to just please everybody. So I guess it's really about being authentic for me.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Josephine? What's your last advice?
Yeah, I mean, I take it more as an encouragement to all of you, men and women out there. Thank you for being here, because it shows that you want to make a difference somewhere. And I just leave you with very simple words, keep going, keep growing, and keep glowing.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, as I'm saying this, I thank goodness I practiced my mouth exercises just now, because keep growing and keep glowing.
That's your tongue twister, is it?
Yeah. Okay,
so
back to you.
You can see the transformation that is being made by all the women live here.
Yeah, and amazing, Josephine, Eunice, we received so many comments, and they're so grateful for showing up so authentically. You are all inspirational, defining success on your own terms, running your own races at your own pace. I can really resonate very well. You are the best in your own way, not somebody else. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And why don't we open to the floor? Maybe we will just take one or two questions. Is there any question before we let Eunice and Josephine go? Any questions so far?
I think there's a lot of encouraging words.
Yeah.
For Josephine, and a lot of I think appreciation for all the sharings by both Eunice and Josephine. So one of the takeaways for me will be really being authentic. Just be yourself and be in your race. I think that's very important. And also I heard how Josephine said, and that actually echoes what Rashim said earlier on as well, right? I think what you need to do is to be able to delegate, have that support system. You can't multitask everything by yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like Eunice, you said that you need to have that support system, like your your girlfriends, your boyfriends, who have the like-minded people together, where you can actually bounce ideas and all that. Wow, there's a lot of learning for me as well, right, Aichin?
Yeah, a lot, and it's very inspiring, being authentic. That's where I see Eunice, and Josephine. Okay, right. I think there's just one question for you, Josephine. What are you busy with at the moment?
Personal question, no. Okay. Well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to promote myself. I actually manage my own coaching, mentoring, and training business. So basically, yeah, lately I've been doing quite a lot of mentoring, and I like working with young people. So yeah, I curate, I create, I deliver, I develop my own programs. So yeah, if you're interested, I will send my link below. Just check me out on LinkedIn. Yeah, thanks. Back to you.
Thank you, Josephine. So, okay, last question before we let both of you go. What has been the most significant learning from your tough times? What has made you resilient? Very good question. Maybe Eunice first?
For me, I think that there is a time for everything and there's a season for every purpose. More importantly, I would like to encourage all the women and the gentlemen out there to really have the courage to pursue your passions and your goals. I mean, what can go wrong, right? Yeah, so I would encourage everybody to just go for it.
Thank you, Eunice. Yeah, just go for it. Just do it lah.
Yeah. Do it lah.
Josephine?
Yep, thanks. Resilience, is explained very simply. The shift is from me to me. Your life doesn't really belong to you. Seriously, you are an influence to anyone around you, or anyone around you. There's so many circles of influences. I think whatever we do has a domino effect. And therefore, resilience equals what I do now today will affect tomorrow. Not just myself, but the people around me as well. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Josephine and Eunice.